This is Chloe. She's got a beautiful smile, a real sardonic wit that will make you laugh from your belly. At 21, on the first day of her first ever job, she walked up to a desk and burst into tears. She thought she would never work in an office, let alone have her own desk. This is Emma. She's got more ambition than most CEOs I've ever met. She's a self-starter, a go-getter. She can work a room in minutes. Emma's so efficient, the task that you casually mention in the morning will be ready by the afternoon. She's so keen to climb that corporate ladder. This is Sajine. Sajine's family immigrated from Korea to give her a better life. She's warm, friendly, personifies excellence in customer service, and she makes a perfect cup of coffee. This is Ripu. With qualifications in journalism and communications, Ripu had a great head start in life. Like many aspiring reporters, he wants to change the world, but his life also took an unexpected turn. You know, these are 4 ambitious young people, really talented, but at an age when they should have been blossoming, they were sidelined. They were square pegs in a business world that only thought in a circular way. This business world was not cut out for these four young people living with a disability. We talk about being inclusive and diverse, yet we're far from that when it comes to employment opportunities for all. The number of people like the young adults that I have shown you who cannot get a job, any job, even a foot in the door for an interview is wrong, so very wrong. But it's a situation we can fix. Consider this fact alone, the employment rate for non-disabled people is 70%, yet that same rate for disabled people is a mere 22%. This bigger picture is depressing, and it's a sad reality for people living with a disability. But the good news is that Chloe, Emma, Sajine, Ripu did get a job. They were given a chance. And this is the story of that journey, one where a world of possibilities opened up because we flipped our thinking. We dared to venture where others might not have gone. I believe it's a story of hope, which made sense on so many levels. And at the heart of our journey to becoming a more diverse workforce was the profound human dimension. And here are 5 big discoveries that I want to share with you. Firstly, it's a big reminder to us all about the simple fact that work is important to us. It gives us meaning and dignity. Everyone has the right to work. It shouldn't be just reserved for a select few. The workplace provides us with this undeniable sense of belonging. What would our lives be like if we didn't have that place to connect, to thrive, be part of something bigger, to make a contribution, to make a difference? A significant part of the population miss out on this chance. Why would we deny that to them? Why would we exclude these people, even unintentionally, from that opportunity for greater purpose? The start of our journey began with a simple but nagging problem we wanted to solve, one that many businesses would understand. Nobody delivered the mail on time, files and papers were left unkempt, the photocopies were always empty, meeting rooms were, quite frankly, filthy, kitchens were left unkept, the receptionist couldn't take a break. These routine but important tasks which keep an office running were just being ignored. But what if we took these tasks, made a job of them for someone that was eager to do them? This was the genesis of our Creative Spirit program. Over 7 years ago, Chloe and Emma were the first interns of that program, which began as a business solution, but also made a big difference to the lives of these young adults living with an intellectual disability. This is the first great step for a young person to enter the working world. Creative Spirit quickly achieved what it set out to do, create a smoother running business. But it also launched us on a journey of acceptance and discovery, of patience, kindness, empathy, of inclusion. Pretty soon, 2 jobs became 4 jobs, and those 8 jobs became 16 jobs. And as our staff started spreading the concept, other businesses began to take notice. Dozens of companies have now followed the Creative Spirit model and adapted it to their own circumstances. When Chloe and Emma celebrated their 6-year working anniversary, some 300 people at our Auckland office turned up for their morning tea. Emma helped organise the event, she sent out the emails, she sorted out the catering. Chloe had prepared hard to make a short speech, but what was just as impressive is the fact that she knew the names of every single person in that office off by heart. The second discovery we made was the hard battle parents supporting these young people have. These warrior parents and carers desperately need a hand. The emotional cost to them is immense. These parents were wearing themselves out, making huge personal sacrifices, fighting for what most of us take for granted. As people got wind of Creative Spirit, I began to get calls from parents looking for a lifeline for their children. The phone calls and emails began as a trickle, and this trickle turned into a river, and then that river turned into a flood. Imagine watching your child, once they pass through the schooling system, just sitting at home, bored, with no apparent future, itching to have a chance to take part in life just like everybody else. These 24/7 warrior parents battle prejudice, and they're constantly reminded that it isn't a level playing field for those living with a disability. I received an email from an employee about our program. He said what we were doing made him cry. He explained to me that he had a 2-year-old child with Down syndrome, and he said if other companies followed our example, then his son had a real chance at a future, a chance to lead a fulfilling life, to work, to be part of something bigger. Perhaps it wasn't so much a discovery as a relearning, but addressing inequality whenever we experience it is just the right thing to do. Once upon a time, it was okay for businesses to focus solely on making money, to deliver that shareholder value. But today we expect more from business. Yes, we can have diversity and inclusion strategies in place, but often these are just papers in a bottom drawer. They're boxes for the ticking or policies on a website. What do we actually see around us? What do you see in your business? What can we do in a practical sense to embrace diversity? We also discovered the power of building diversity into the everyday. About 18 months ago, we faced a very first world problem. We'd moved into these amazing new offices, but what about the coffee? We had a great new building, but being on the 7th floor, there was no easily accessible flat white. When you started calculating the downtime of people heading off site to find that coffee, you're talking about a lot of lost productivity, which got us thinking. Wouldn't it be great to have a cafe on site with our own personal barista? I was having a conversation with someone from another company about the idea. I was saying, if we're going to start such a cafe, why couldn't we potentially wrap around the concept around employing somebody with a disability? And what if they had a passion for coffee, which would be far more important? What if we gave that coffee shop a pop-up feel? What if we, say, converted an old shipping container and situated it on the balcony of our offices? And what if we're going to create this space, why don't we put in a wheelchair ramp, maybe lower the bench space? He responded, maybe, but it's not going to work if you're deaf. You can't have a barista who can't hear. That's just not going to work. How do you respond to a comment like that? Well, you go ahead and do it anyway. Thank you. Sagen is living proof that such a thing works. As one of our deaf baristas, she serves over 200 cups of coffee a day. There were other ways that we could have created a better understanding of our deaf community. We could have held workshops, we could have run sign language courses, but nothing works as well as building diversity into the everyday. On the first day that coffee shop opened, 300 people made a beeline for their quick fix. Following signs, videos, and other prompts, people have to order using sign language, which, by the way, is our 3rd official national language. In fact, there's no other way to get a coffee around there. For a few moments... For a few moments each day, we get a chance to make a connection, and it doesn't just stop at a flat white thanks. Sagen is so passionate, she makes you want to learn more and more each day. The coffee shop was an admittedly unorthodox way of embracing diversity, and we had so much fun setting it up in a kind of perverse way. This commercial venture broke even from an early stage, so it made sense. So much sense, we're giving that model out to other businesses to adopt. We created a hub for our staff to gather and share ideas 1 minute away, not a 20-minute walk away. In our business, it allowed us to look at accessibility in a really authentic way. Onboarding Chloe and Emma meant that we looked at our employment contracts. Should we be making them easier to read? This in turn will help staff where English is their second language. And let's be frank, who doesn't want a contract that's simple and easy to read? This all led to another positive discovery. Diversity, be it gender, ethnicity, beliefs, abilities, or experiences, brings a new lens by which we learn, connect, and grow. We have an employee who uses a wheelchair. Another staff member was watching them go through our electronic doors. He wants to develop a piece of tech that's attached to the wheelchair so that the doors open in advance. And this guy's not even in IT. Creative thinking to solve a problem in the everyday, one that we wouldn't have known existed if we didn't embrace it in the everyday. Having employed someone who is deaf to run our cafe, we're more than comfortable employing a communications person who just so happens to be deaf. A disability can bring a different perspective. If we're holding video conferences, can we do that with subtitles so that those who are deaf can be included? Can we provide those subtitles in different languages? Te reo, perhaps. Can those subtitles be downloaded as minutes of a meeting? To be truly inclusive, you have to think more broadly. Bringing disability into the workforce can be a catalyst for innovation, and it doesn't have to be hard. It meant that when we employed Ripu, we viewed it as a chance to further enhance our workforce. Ripu's lucky to be alive. When he contracted meningococcal more than 4 years ago, doctors put him in an induced coma as they fought hard to save his life. The disease took his arms, his legs, and even some of his face. His recovery has been as much a psychological one as a physical one. He soon found out that our communities like the idea of being tolerant and inclusive, but in practice we find it hard to accommodate those who might look a little different. Ripu has found a place in our newsroom as a journalist. I have to be very clear, Ripu's employed because of his skills, nothing more, nothing less. For some, his disability might have been a showstopper. For us, it's a showcase. It's purely about what he can do and what he does contribute rather than what he can't do. Because we've been on this journey of discovery, we were confident that Ripu would fit into our business with ease. Chloe, Emma, Seijin, and Ripu were 4 young people lucky enough not to fall through the gap. But how can we help others? To make a movement out of a moment, to make a deeper and broader difference. The solution is in front of us. As I said, we have a huge disproportionate number of people living with a disability, looking for work. The problem is so acute that these people do not even get in the door for an interview, let alone be seriously considered for employment, even with a list of qualifications a mile long. In this country, there are nearly 60,000 businesses employing over 2 million people. I put it to you that a good number of these businesses have a capacity, arguably an obligation, but are certainly in a position to employ a person who just so happens to live with a disability. We've done it. Companies large and small who we've helped follow this path have also done it, and they've done it easily, and the benefits have been immense. So can others. If they did, we would not just reduce this employment gap, we would eliminate the gap. You've heard of the glass ceiling in the workforce that women have had to contend with for generations. People living with a disability need a bridge. This bridge is a path for these young people to lead that multifaceted life the rest of us enjoy. We can build this bridge one piece at a time, one business at a time, one job at a time, one person at a time. We did this for Chloe, Emma, Seijin and Ripu and many more. This is the human dimension, and as such, let's make a human response, because the smallest action on our part will make a world of difference to these individuals, and our business world will be that much richer for it. Thank you.